Q94.7, 8 o'clock hour up and rolling for you here on this beautiful Wednesday as we celebrate the greatness of 4th of July. What a weekend. We had a great time. Again, I want to thank everybody for that parade yesterday. That was just an incredible time.
I heard it was great. I was at home in the air conditioning. I admit it.
Yes, it was nice out there yesterday. Nice seeing everybody and getting to talk to folks and stuff. Very, very cool. So, again, grateful, Joe. Hope you had a great weekend. But time to get, if you get your time out, time to get back at it. And we're talking with Sonia this morning. And, a lot of times you get around somebody like insurance agents in this case, and they use phrases that you're not exactly sure what they are talking about or what they mean. And this morning we're going to be, answering the question of everything you need to know about insurance phrases that you didn't know.
Well, yeah, this is a question from somebody that watched our Facebook Live last week, I think it was, and they said that my agent said that I needed to have PIP and UM, and they didn't know what that meant. And, it's funny because I guess it's with every industry, initials, acronyms, whatever you call them, abbreviations become so common. But to the general public, that doesn't mean anything. And we try really hard to not use those words with customers, but explain them. But I'm sure that sometimes we do that because it's just a habit. And those are so common. Those two, PIP and UM, are so common. So I thought we'd talk about what those are today.
When I was a kid, I used to remember hearing the word PIP. People say, that kid's a real PIP. He was kind of a nice way of saying somebody was a nice person or a good kid, a good person. So I guess in the insurance industry, it means it's just be a nice insurance agency, huh?
No. No, it does not. However, it does stand for something, and PIP stands for Personal Injury Protection, and UM stands for Uninsured, Underinsured Motorist. They're two very important coverages, and in the state of Texas, you have to either have those coverages on your personal auto policy, or you have to sign a rejection saying that you do not want them. Now, once you sign that rejection, it stays in place. You don't have to re-sign one every year, but they're very important, and the state of Texas requires it that a person either have them on their policy or that they sign that they don't want them. So we'll talk about what they are. They're very important. The first one, Personal Injury Protection, PIP, is if you have an accident, it does not matter whose fault it is, okay? As long as it's an auto accident, and it could even be if you're a pedestrian, if you're the insured on the policy and you're a pedestrian and are struck by a vehicle, but if you have an auto accident and you're hurt, or anyone in your vehicle is hurt, it pays up to that limit, which the standard minimum limit is $2,500 for medical bills, if you can't work because of the accident, lost wages, that kind of thing, even up to, heaven forbid, funeral expenses. So it's a very important coverage. $2,500, no, it's not a lot, but maybe it would cover a deductible or, something like that just to get things started. And again, it doesn't matter whose fault the accident is. So it's very important coverage to have, and I would recommend you think very seriously about it before you don't have it and find out how much it costs, because it's usually not a whole lot, before you would reject it, because that's very important.
The wild thing about it is that a lot of people may have it, but their limits may be in a situation where they might have to talk to you about getting that changed.
Right. Well, yeah, and the minimum is $2,500, but you can have up to $10,000. The premium goes up, of course, the higher the limit. We recommend that you at least have the $2,500. And like I said, most people have health insurance. There's a lot of different coverages that could fall into place with an auto accident, but at least it's something to have. And the thing that people don't think about are the lost wages. If you're hurt so bad that you have to have somebody come in and mow your lawn, that kind of thing. So it's a good coverage to have, and it's real important. So that's the first one. Second one, in my opinion, is probably more important, and it's known as UM, or Uninsured, Underinsured Motorists. And you can probably tell from the name what it is. If you have an accident, it's not your fault, but the other people don't have insurance, or they don't have enough insurance, it pays up to the limit like their insurance would. So you're thinking, well, it's a law in Texas that people have to carry insurance. Well, yes, it is. And unfortunately, there are still drivers without insurance. And what you see happen, because as everyone knows, when you renew your driver's license, when you do your vehicle registration, you have to show proof of insurance. But then that policy could get canceled if you don't make the payment or something like that. So unfortunately, and we see this a lot, there are accidents that happen all the time where the at-fault party did not have insurance. Then they also just might not have enough insurance. Say they carry the state minimum of insurance, but your vehicle is worth more than that, or even worse, you or the people in your vehicle were injured and the medical expenses are much, much higher than their policy covers. So that's where the underinsured motorist comes in. And again, those are not very expensive premiums. So I would definitely recommend you see if you have those too. So I hope that answers the question to the listener of what does my agent mean when they say PIP and UM.
Now, I know you may not want to answer this question. You can say no comment if you want to. But there are insurance companies out there that we see advertised here and there that I guess the only way to put this, basically all you're doing is buying an insurance card, pretty much. The limits that they have, or whatever they do as far as insuring things, may not be where you want it to be. So if you get hit by one of these folks, you might want this insurance, because even though they have it, they don't have enough.
Right, and oddly enough, Rick, there actually have been cases talking about buying an insurance card. Of course, that's completely illegal. I know what you're talking about, but it's completely illegal, but it has happened. There's actually been agents in Texas that have been fined, lost their license because they were literally selling insurance cards, which is completely illegal. But then, yes, there are companies you probably see on television. I'm not saying they're all bad or anything like that, where they say, liability only, $79 a month or something like that, and who knows, but it's probably very minimum limits. So yeah, you definitely, the state minimum is way too low considering the cost of vehicles. And again, stuff can get replaced, but it's those medical bills that just go so high, and we all know how that goes. You're minding your own business, and the next thing you know, you're in an ambulance, you have to be care flighted. Those costs can just go out the roof. So, more than likely, the driver is probably not going to carry enough insurance to cover all that.
Is insurance kind of like a lot of different things? You get what you pay for?
In some ways, and there are really good discounts available. So I don't want to say that just because something's cheaper that it's worse, because that's not necessarily true. But I'd find out why it's cheaper, especially if it's a lot cheaper. Some companies just give really good discounts. But yeah, it's nothing's free. But just because something's more expensive in insurance doesn't necessarily mean that it is better either. So you just have to kind of analyze that. And that's why you need an agent that can go over that with you and explain it to you.
And if they need to get a hold of you guys, how do they do it?
Well, you can come see us, second floor, Sierra Bank Building. You can call us, 940-549-2525. Or you can visit us on the web, www.bryanins.com. Or on social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
So get it done today at Bryan Insurance Agency. And thanks for explaining what a PIP is.
You're welcome.
Sonia's a real PIP too. So there you go.